arm length decides if I'm a good player or not, I think it's BS. But, any decision makers in the NFL, they don't really care. It's all, people who don't coach, and they don't coach for a reason.
They're taking millions of dollars off of his contract. There's been a lot to be said about both Kyren Lacy and Will Campbell, and I think both of them have kind of responded to some of the things that have been said. Now, Will Campbell, for different reasons than Kyren Lacy. Obviously, Kyren Lacy was dealing with a massive legal situation in which his lawyers have come out and say that he has no real involvement in. And with Will Campbell, he is being called a guard, and really this entire offensive line is being called a bunch of guards. But it brought up something, because him being a almost NFL player, a presumed first-round pick, is calling out the NFL media for the lies I told you they were going to be told, and the lies that Deion Sanders told you was going to be told. So we're going to take a quick pit stop, checking on Deion, calling out the people who are lying on Shedeur. Will Campbell's going to call out the people lying on Shedeur, and then we're going to hear his media time, because, again, he's projected to be one of the best offensive linemen alongside my Texas Longhorn, Kelvin Banks, Hook 'em Horns, and he was being projected as a guard for small arms. Let's see what he has to say about the decision maker saying
you as a prospect.
For 2 years, nobody had any measurements on me, and nobody said anything about my play. So now all of a sudden, an arm length decides if I'm a good player or not. I think it's BS. But, any decision makers in the NFL, they don't really care. It's all, people who don't coach, and they don't coach for a reason.
And here's the thing. And Deion Sanders had something similar to say, but he basically said that all the things, and he said at the draft, all the things that y'all were saying about Shedeur at the draft, at the Big 12 Pro Day, he was telling them, hey, I know who you are. I know your name. And it looks like Deion Sanders followed on that. So what does he say? And on the Skip Bayless show, of all people, that's kind of...
You know me, I'm going to get to the bottom of it. So I called that team, because I tracked it down. I knew who it was. And I called the head coach, and we had a candid conversation. Because
you really good. Good for you.
We were really cool. And he said, Prime, that never happened. He said, matter of fact, it was a great interview. We all walked out of there saying, dang, this kid got it. I said, yeah, but this guy on your staff lied and said it did. So you need to check him. And he did. Shedeur has told me, he's talked to me intently about all the visits he's had with all the teams. So I know where his heart is. I know where he wants to go. If it's New York, it's New York. If it's Tennessee, if it's Cleveland, if it's still the Raiders, if it's New Orleans, if it's any of those teams that are seeking a quarterback, I'm happy with it, man, because I know what he's going to do to the organization. I know what he's going to do.
Now, we did a separate video on this full interview, because he obviously goes a little in depth, so that's separate. But I just wanted to bring that up because it's the consistent thing that I've been telling you, and the videos we've been talking about Deion Sanders exposing the lies, and that's what continues to happen. He goes up and now doubly exposes the lies. And look, talk about this. A major development at LSU Pro Day at Pro Day, consensus All-American offensive tackle Will Campbell's arm measured in at 33 inches, checking off a crucial box for NFL executives and talent evaluators. Important context, the measurements were conducted by NFL scouts, not LSU. Now, obviously his arms were right at the 32. You know what I'm saying? And apparently that was too long. And if you're not familiar with offensive line play, right, if you're going to be a tackle, it's length on length, right? The edge players are getting faster and longer and taller. If you want to be able to block a Myles Garrett, the key to it is not actually just being tall and being big. It's also having enough length to latch on and be the first to put your hands on the inside of their pad. If you do that as an offensive lineman, you win. And that's why height and then arm length is very important, because if not, we're going to bump you over to play guard, because guards do a lot. They have a lot more help in the pass rush game, as well as they have a lot more run game responsibilities more consistently. Offensive tackles, more pass game, right? And they get obviously paid a lot more money. Longer your arms are, more length you are, the more that you can handle the number one edge player, the more they're going to, put you on the island on the blind side and give you a bunch of money. So it is big for him as somebody who is 6'5" and 7'8", who's basically 6'6", right? For somebody to say, nah, you gotta play guard at 6'6", which there are, there's 6'6" guards. There's plenty of big guards and they do a good job. But if you know anything about leverage, right, I don't think Will Campbell wants to play guard in the NFL. I don't think he wants to get forklift by some of the defensive tackles out there. So let him play the position that he wants to play. He wants to be a natural tackle. So this is not just something that, they're just trying to whatever. No, they're taking millions of dollars off of his potential contract, saying that, all you got to do is play guards. And they've been saying that about Kelvin Banks too. It's been this because the only tackle that people are sure about being a tackle this year is Colin Simmons at Ohio State. So, and he's coming off a big injury. But let's get a little deeper into it. Let's hear Will Campbell. What else he has to say, and then after that, we're gonna hop into Kyren Lacy, check in on him, and go from there.
Well, Will, your arms were measured longer today than at the combine, and that's obviously been a discussion around you this whole pre-draft process. Can you explain how they were measured longer here today?
Well, there was a lot of people at the combine who had messed up measurements. That's why you don't really see too much about it other than media people, because nobody really bought into it, and quite frankly, nobody really cares. But yeah, I mean, I knew my arms were 33 inches. Everybody kind of had on every height, weight, wingspan, arm length. Everybody was kind of deducted at the combine, and that's why I measured in again today, even though I didn't do anything, because I knew that that's not right.
What do you make of that whole discussion around you? And I mean, do you feel like it shouldn't matter for your game? I mean, just sort of what do you make of that element of this?
You see him loading up.
Discourse around you as a prospect.
For 2 years, nobody had any measurements on me, and nobody said anything about my play. So,
and we heard what he said there.
Will, ever since the season ended and you declared for the draft, just what has this whole journey been like for you, getting prepared for these upcoming days in preparation for April?
yeah, I mean, it's been long, but it's exciting. I'm super, thankful and blessed to be in this, position and have this great program, behind me. Obviously, I'm going to miss LSU, but, all the things that it did for me, and I could have never asked for anything more from this place. But I'm just super excited for the next step, and I'm ready for it to happen. I'm sick of waiting.
Well, a bunch of guys have signed some big contracts from LSU recently. What do you think it is about this program that prepares you guys to not only succeed in the NFL, but succeed so much to get those massive deals?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, the players, that the tape does all the talking for everybody that comes here. They recruit the best players in the country year in and year out, and they're going to show up here ready to work. And then it also helps that, you have this world-class facility with everything at your fingertips that you could ever need to put yourself in the best position possible to go be your best version on Saturday nights. And, that's going to translate to Sundays too. So, congratulations to those guys. They deserve it. Probably could have got more, honestly. I mean, they do so much. I'm just super excited for them.
Nice.
Well, what did you see from Deli and Miles today with, what they did? Just what kind of players are teams going to get from them?
Yeah, I mean, they did a great job today. Not even just those two. Guys like Josh Williams, Mason Taylor, Greg Penn, all those guys, came out and, did their thing today. And I was just super excited for them. They all worked so hard, and they all deserve everything that's coming their way. And I'm just super excited for them and their families for, this next journey. And, they're going to be exactly where they need to be for sure.
Well, you talked about at the combine that, if you had to play guard compared to tackle, you would do it just as long as you would get on the field. But how determined are you to make sure teams know that you can start and play in the NFL as a tackle?
Yeah, like I said, I'm going to play wherever the coach tells me to. But I've talked to quite a few people, and only 2 teams that I've talked to out of everybody see me as a guard, and that's because they already have tackles. So other than that, everybody knows what position I play, and everybody knows my mindset on that I'm willing to do whatever it takes to help the team win and, get on the field as early as possible. But everybody knows that I can play tackle. We're good.
What kind of mark do you hope to have left on LSU and the program and the culture and just Louisiana football, being a Louisiana native yourself?
Yeah.
By the
biggest
way,
thing for me was,
I'm sorry. But as someone who has family from Louisiana, I everybody could tell he was from Louisiana. Everybody could tell,
when
dog.
I found it, in the O-line
Come on,
room.
dog.
That's something that me and Coach Davis talked about through my recruiting process, and I feel like I did a good job of that. Trying to show these guys that are in the room right now the right way to go about their business on and off the field, the way to, take care of themselves, the way to approach academics, and really just try to set the best example that I could. and build a foundation for Coach Kelly's vision and, his program. And, I'm just, like I said earlier, I'm just super grateful for this place. I dreamed of coming here, dreamed of wearing that purple and gold on Saturday night. And, it's done so much for me and my family. And, I'll never be able to put into words what this place means to me.
Hey, man, Will Campbell, absolute dog. If y'all know anything about Will Campbell and how he gets down, like, he's known to be one of those guys that plays with that extra oomph about him, right? He's one of those nasty, dirty offensive linemen that you want on your team, and you really want to be able to hit and run after reportedly causing a crash that killed a United States Marine and then fleeing the scene. After allegedly causing the crash, the investigation alleged that Lacy sped from the scene and did not report his involvement to police. The former LSU wide receiver declared for the NFL just 2 days after the crash, I apologize. And the person who was presumed to pass was Mr. Herman Hall, former Marine who was critically injured and transported to the hospital where he later died. And to be honest with you, is that his fault? I mean, the doctors didn't, do what they need to do. I don't know, but that's another conversation to talk about healthcare in this nation. But awful to lose that. However, it is said, and his lawyers have came out saying a different bit of a tone. So we're going to have a bit of an update here and just kind of talk about it because he also, ran some 40 yards. So he's got some workouts to look at, and we're going to check this out. So Mr. Kyren Lacy is putting work despite not receiving an invite to the NFL Combine. Okay, that's probably copyrighted, dog. Work not receiving an invite to the NFL Combine. Before Lacy's arrest, many NFL scouts projected Lacy to be a second-round pick, with some even comparing him to Stephon Diggs. Lacy is currently training with David Robinson, and he produced wide receivers like Jamar Chase and Marvis Harrison. Lacy's defense attorney, Matthew Ory, issued a statement around a month ago saying his client did not cause the deadly crash. Mr. Lacy has been an exemplary community member and teammate. We ask that he not be judged prematurely, and we are confident that further investigation will show he acted within the bounds of the law. The LSU wide receiver could end up being a steal. Now, if you know anything about the draft process, we talk about it all the time. Look, man, this is gonna. He's already sliding down boards. This is what it is. The same reason why he's not invited to the to the combine. Same reason why he's not invited to the draft. Right there's a certain stench when these things happen, even if it's not right or wrong. I mean, Larry Tunsil fell out of the draft just because of a leaked picture on the same day. Like, I really feel like, if you want to ask me, I think all this stuff is planned. I think, it's all a conspiracy just to make sure that certain teams, certain players go to certain teams. And I think a certain team in Kansas City, watch out. But if they get a dynamic wide receiver with Kyren Lacy, he is more of a, like I said, dynamic. His speed isn't out of the gym. Obviously, with his 40, we're going to talk about that. He doesn't even jump that high, 36 inch. 36 is phenomenal, first off, for an athlete. It's phenomenal. But in the lengths of, greats and jumping out the gym, that's not what he does. He is more of that physical guy who also can put him in route in and can do some of the dirty work as a wide receiver. He's one of those every down type of guys that I think a team like Kansas City might be able to get a lot of value out of. Again, more getting the value out of him. Not that I think that he's going to be some world-class wide receiver, but he was coming out of LSU, and you've seen the receivers they produced. I mean, just they're freshmen. I mean, they're rookies last year at the top of the class when it comes to receiving yards and things like that. Texans, I told y'all should have took up Big Brian. But anyway, here's another excerpt about the updates following him showing up at the LSU Pro Day. And it says, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, former LSU wide receiver Kyren Lacy attracted a lot of eyes and turned heads Wednesday at LSU's Pros Day. Lacy posted a 4.5 40-yard dash and 36-inch vertical during the workout in front of NFL scouts, including representatives from the New Orleans Saints. And the Saints even tweeted out his workout. So it seems like, I know I'm talking about the Chiefs. I mean, I'm talking about the Chiefs just because their track record of getting lots of good value from picks. But if the Saints picked him up day 2, day 3, they already seem to like him. He's an LSU guy, plays in LSU, Louisiana guy, plays at LSU. So it would make sense. He actually came from the Raging Cajuns. So shout out to them. So the Thibodaux native has not been invited to the 2025 NFL Combine due to an ongoing criminal case in Lafourche Parish. He is facing charges of negligent homicide, felony hit and run, and reckless operation. We talked about that. Lacy allegedly fled the scene. We talked about that. At no time did Mr. Lacy's vehicle strike the rear of Mr. Herman's vehicle. This is his defense. Nor did any of the vehicles Mr. Lacy passed collide with his, a statement read. After the collision occurred in front of Mr. Lacy, he cautiously went around the vehicles after passage was safe. So let me reread that. This is what his defense is saying. The broader part is, at no time did Mr. Lacy's vehicle strike the rear of Mr. Herman's vehicle, nor did any of the vehicles Mr. Lacy passed collide with his. A statement read: after the collision occurred in front of Mr. Lacy, he cautiously went around the vehicles after passage was safe. So if I'm reading through all this, to be honest with you, this sounds like Kyren Lacy is being, he's not free, because clearly the lawyer is saying that he could have swerved or did something. They're saying a crash happened in front of him and he did nothing, and no car struck anything. But it's very clear that if he was driving recklessly and he was weaving and bobbing and doing whatever, and somebody had to get out of his way, and that caused the crash, at the end of the day, that's causing a crash. I'm hoping that the way that he laid it out as a lawyer is truthful. Lawyers don't do things really plainly and truthful, so you never know. But Lacy wrapped up his college career with 162 receptions, 2,360 receiving yards, 26 touchdowns between his time at the University of Louisiana, UL, and then LSU. Sorry. Before the crash, Lacy was considered a potential first-round pick. While his legal situation has clouded his draft stock, many analysts believe teams will still take a chance on him with a talented wide receiver. And the draft is coming fastly approaching the 24th, and let's see him actually put this work in here. And then we also had here is him actually doing his his vert bow, looking good, looking smooth. And then he projects it. How tall is Kyren Lacy? Let me look this up. He's 6'2". He's 6'2". So he's not crazy tall, but again, he's 4'7", 4'9". It's enough to get. I feel like, and maybe this is just my slow at, because remember, I'm slow. I ain't running nothing, but I feel like there's been a lot of 4.4s, a lot of 4.5 numbers. You know what I'm saying? I know we saw Jimmy Horn do a 4.46. Jimmy Horn and LeJohntay be at 4.46. Right, so I don't think 4.47, depending, looking at how fast these receivers are running, is that bad. So you're gonna get really good speed for what he is. And again, at the end of the day, Kyren Lacy is a guy who gets it done over the middle. He gets, who can still really compete physically when it comes to getting after the balls. I'm just happy that he was able to get out there and showcase some of his talent. We know that and I'm really hoping that the things that his defense say, that he didn't actually do something awful. I'm hoping that Will Campbell does get what he needs to get and gets his top 10 pick like that he deserves to be. It's an interesting situation, but I wanted to just check in on the pro day. What I'm saying? I have a Louisiana family. I watch a lot of LSU. LSU players usually dominate in the NFL regardless. So two players that I think are marred in a lot of controversy for different reasons, some with lies, some with half-truths, and I think it's just great to have that conversation. If there's any other type of content y'all want to see, specific pro days, spring football, obviously we're going to be talking about draft stuff and everything else in between. I just appreciate y'all watching it. Like if you like it, dislike if you don't like it, subscribe if you want to hang out and chill with us, man. You have a great time, people.